Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Mack, Crayton III, and thank you for joining me for part two of my four-part teaching on the biblical story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Once again, we want to wish a happy Pride Week 2019 to all members of the LGBTQ community. Let's begin part two of four. Part two is titled A Culture of Hospitality During Antiquity. It is difficult to understand the scriptures without knowledge of the traditions and customs of antiquity or biblical times. To gain a clearer understanding of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, you must understand the custom of hospitality at that time. So for part two of my 5-minute, 4-part series, we'll watch a video from the YouTube channel for Dr. Noreen Jacks. I encourage you to visit Dr. Jacks' channel on YouTube for more lessons from biblical times.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Noreen Jacks, and thank you for taking 5 with me. For just a few moments now, I want to speak with you about biblical hospitality. Are you aware that hospitality in the ancient world was considered a God-given obligation rather than an option as it's often regarded in our contemporary Western world? To offer a weary traveler the comfort and pleasures of one's tent or humble mud brick dwelling quite literally meant the difference between life and death in the hostile desert environment of the Near East. I became very interested in the concept of biblical hospitality when I learned the definition of the compound term from the Greek text. You see here on the screen, the term is philoxenos, meaning hospitality or generosity to guests, and it can also mean enemy. Let's take this word apart now. Phileo means brotherly love, and xenos means stranger, foreigner, alien, or even enemy. So true biblical hospitality is not what we think. It is not entertaining your neighbors or your friends or extended family. It is the love of strangers. It is even the love of enemies and entertaining one's enemies. Hospitality was considered the traveler's right and the host's privilege in antiquity. For this reason, a guest was not expected to express thanks to his host. After all, the host might be in need of hospitality himself soon, and the host might be entertaining angels unaware, as we see in the case of Abraham. Abraham greeted his heavenly visitors at the gate of his tent, according to Genesis chapter 18, verse 1. Let me tell you about the gate or the door of the tent. In antiquity, it was regarded as the patriarch's throne. It was the place where covenants were cut and business was conducted. The custom remains today among Bedouin tribal groups where men still watch for stranger guests. You see, hospitality is regarded as a sacred duty with the belief that guests are sent from God. When you have a moment, I suggest reading Genesis chapter 18, verses 1 through 8. In the interest of time, I have summarized Abraham's legendary hospitality in this slide. There's a lot of verbal action taking place in this scene. Abraham ran and bowed and gave food and water to his guests. He provided foot washing, or rather he would have the lowliest servant in his household perform that task. Abraham called the men Lord, and he referred to himself as their servant. This was done in accordance with the tradition of the day. Abraham then told his wife Sarah to hurry with the food, and it appears that he personally killed a choice calf. Veal, imagine the most expensive meat to entertain strangers. We see that he spared no expense. It's no wonder that Abraham has been named the patron saint of hospitality workers. In this slide, we see Lot and his daughters. Lot also experienced an angelic visitation and extended similar hospitality to his guests. In this series, you will learn why Lot felt obligated to offer his virgin daughters to the wicked men of Sodom just prior to the destruction of the city. Hospitality in the world.
So we see that hospitality was an important issue in antiquity. Join me tomorrow as we look at the visitation of the angels to Lot. Again, thank you for joining me for part 2 of the 4-part series. I appreciate the privilege of your time, and thank you for joining. See you tomorrow.